Hello and welcome to our latest video from our recent London trip. This is going to be a visit to Kew Gardens. We were at Hampton Court. We're going to catch a taxi, go to Kew Gardens, visit the gardens, and then take a riverboat ride along the Thames back into London. Now, we walked from Hampton Court Palace back to the bus station in Hampton Court, where a lady called a taxi for us. We're waiting on the taxi here. Now, I will say this about the taxi. Supposedly, it's supposed to be about a 15-minute drive. Taxi cost 30 to 40 pounds. This trip was closer to 25 to 30 minutes and cost us 66 pounds. Now, I don't know if we got ripped off or not. I'm not saying that we did. It was not a typical London cab. It was a local cab company. Did not have a meter that you could see from the back seat like London cabs do. Didn't tell us about the extra £6 charge for credit cards until we were at the end of our journey rather than the beginning, and I don't know if there had been a shorter route. But at any rate, he got us to Kew Gardens safely, and that's fine. Now, the entrance fee to Kew Gardens for the two of us was $40.48 in US dollars. We did eat lunch there as soon as we got into the park. Typical sandwich, ready-made prepared sandwiches we had, ham and cheese, although here they did heat them for us, and that made a huge difference in the enjoyment level of the sandwich. But the gardens are beautiful. They're huge. The Kew Gardens was established back in 1840. I think the gardens themselves began in 1759. The whole site is over 300 acres. The temperate buildings that you see here have all kind of exotic plants in it. Now, we probably were at the wrong time of the year if you're expecting to see color and flowers and that sort of thing. Not so much on this trip. But a lot of exotic plants that you wouldn't see typically in this environment. And you're basically on a self-guided tour. You can go anywhere you want to on the grounds. They describe there's a 37-acre, what they describe classic woodlands, which is exactly what it is. But here in the temperate buildings, nicely documented plants, beautiful stuff. There's a library and archive here as well. Kew Gardens is a World Heritage Site. It's one of London's top attractions. And as I say, if you're going to make a trip to Hampton Court, you just as soon include Kew Gardens in the same trip if possible. They're fairly close to each other. And cabs are not your only option. There's certainly buses as well, but they will take longer because of the stops. So there are a variety of ways you can get there. But as you can see, the walkways are well trimmed. There is signage to let you know where things are. There's a treetop walkway. There's a Mediterranean garden area. Now, one thing to note, Kew Gardens is on the landing pattern, the landing approach for one of the main runways at Heathrow Airport. So every few minutes, planes will be coming overhead. These were the only flowers we actually got to see that were growing wild out in the grassland area. But again, the weather was nice. The temperature was moderate. It was very pleasant to walk around. Grounds were not particularly crowded at all. And again, the crowds and the traffic patterns in the area probably were affected because of the Queen's funeral going on in this time frame. A lot of people in the area that might not have been. So it fluctuated quite a bit. May not be typical of this time of year. But all in all, a visit to both Hampton Court and Kew Gardens is pleasant. It's a pleasant way to spend a day, a little day trip from London. We will actually be coming back to London on the Thames River boat that we will catch here at Kew Pier, and it will bring us down to the Westminster Pier. So as you can see, there are a variety of ways to get in and out of London and to these attractions. We could have come by boat if we wanted to, but time being an issue, we wanted to make sure we could do both places in one day. This is a little area right outside the Orangery. There are restrooms in the Orangery, by the way, if you're walking around Kew Gardens wondering where to find them. And again, things are labeled, just letting you know what they are. I mean, as botanical gardens go, it's beautiful. It's just, I suspect that at certain times of the year you will have more to see than on others. The price of admission here at Kew Gardens for the two of us was $40.48 US. And you know, if you couple the cost of the taxi and the cost of admission, was Kew Gardens itself worth it? I don't know. It's something you decide for yourself. I'm glad we went. We both enjoyed it. So if that's the yardstick that you're using to measure, then yes, it was certainly worth it for us. The building in the background is the Orangery. And another kind of odd, little-known fact, I guess, that Kew Gardens, they have their own police force. The Kew Constabulary is their own police force. Didn't see any of them out and about, but supposedly they're there. Of course, with all the police needed in London to handle the crowds of the funerals, they may very well have been called into duty in the city rather than out here. That in the background. Well, as we're leaving, this is leaving Kew Gardens. We're going to walk to the pier. Now you simply walk around the wall here that you'll see on your left, and once you get clear of the wall, any left-hand turn you can make will bring you to the river. But it's a short walk from the gates at Kew Garden. I believe this was the Elizabeth Gates that we exited from. Now you can just see on the left the brick wall will end down there, and there's a little path, I think it was called Ferry Lane. You can take that left and walk right down to the Thames. We were unaware of that, so we continued down to the bridge, which was fine. It was sightseeing anyhow. But basically at any point from here on, take a left between houses, up a path, up a lane, whatever, you will get to the Thames. And when you get to the Thames, you take a right. You walk down to the bridge, and there will be a little blue building for the Thames Riverboat, and we'll see it shortly. We're actually going to walk to the bridge that you see in the little distance here. We're going to actually come back and turn by this house and walk up this street to get to the river. And of course, you can, when you get up to this street up here, you can cross the street and then go down to the river on the other side. But certainly easier to just walk down to the river and under the underpass rather than trying to cross the busy street. But again, it's up to whatever people feel like doing. Now we've come back and we've taken the path down to the river. This is the wall along the river. We're going to turn right here and we're going to go under the bridge that we were just on top of. And just in the distance, you see a little green building on the left. That is the office of the Thames River Cruise boats. And it was closed when we got there, and we used the barcode on the sign to buy our tickets. However, about an hour before scheduled departure time, a young lady did show up, and several people joined us and bought their tickets as they arrived. We're going to get our tickets, as I say, online, and we'll sit and wait for the boat. Now, the price for the riverboat to go from Kew Pier back to Westminster Pier in London for both of us was $32.97 US. The ride takes about an hour and a half, I believe. Very pleasant ride. You can ride either on the outside of the boat, on the top, or inside. It's a little cool on this afternoon, so most people tended to stay inside. You can see people wearing jackets. A few hardy souls decided to sit up top. But inside there's comfortable seating, there are tables, there's a concession area where you can buy snacks, drinks as well. And it's just a pleasant boat ride back into London along the Thames. You will go back by the Palace and into London. We had a couple of ladies join us at our table. We had a very pleasant visit, conversation on the way back into London. All in all, a pleasant experience. The time really goes by quickly. And there's lots to see on both banks as you re-enter the city. So as we re-enter the city, as I say, we'll go under the more famous bridges. We get to the Vauxhall Bridge, Lambeth Bridge, Westminster. And you'll see some of the buildings of the skyline you might recognize. Certainly will be right across the Thames from the London Eye where we dock. You do pass the MI6 building as well. So all in all, a pleasant day. We enjoyed it. That is the Westminster Bridge. That is County Hall behind it and the London Eye. And the pier that we're docked at will be right to our left under this bridge. And right by Big Ben, as a matter of fact. So thanks a lot for watching our videos. If you're watching our videos, please subscribe. We've gotten a few new subscribers. We appreciate everybody. And we'll have more videos for you coming up. So thanks again for watching, joining us.